Hello, this is Chitran from Just Tutors. Today we are going to learn more about gravitation. These are the objectives of today's video: thrust and pressure, pressure in fluids, buoyancy, Archimedes Principle, and relative density. Let's move ahead. What are thrust and pressure? It is a reactive force described by Newton in his third law of motion. It is perpendicular to the surface. Thrust depends on the area on which it acts. Area is inversely proportional to the pressure. A force applied on a smaller area exerts larger pressure. The same force will exert a small pressure on a larger area. So we can simply say thrust is a force which is reaction to an applied force. Thrust per unit area is called pressure, and its SI unit is Pascal. We can write it as PA. Pressure in fluids. Basically water fluids. Fluids are liquids or gases. They are known as fluids. So a solid has some weight, and so it exerts pressure on any surface. Similarly, fluids have weight too. Fluids exert pressure on the container's sides, wall and base in which it is kept. In short, we can say fluids exert pressure in all the sides. In such a confined environment, the pressure is transmitted undiminished in all directions. At a given depth or height, pressure in fluids is the same in all directions. If it were not, then the fluid would flow. Buoyancy is the upward force which is exerted on an object when it is immersed in water or any fluid. You can see here the force is applied by water or fluid, and it tends to the object float or sink. Magnitude of buoyancy depends on fluid density. An object immersed in any fluid experiences the gravitational pull, but fluid exerts the upward force as a reaction. This upward force, or say buoyant force, is larger than the weight of the object, and hence the object rises up when released. In order to keep the object beneath the fluid, external force need to be applied in the downward direction. Next is, and very important, Archimedes Principle. When a body is partially or fully immersed in a fluid, it experiences an upward force that is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it or the object. It applies to all floating and submerged bodies, to all liquids and gases. If the density of the object is less than the density of the fluid, then the object will float, and if the density of object is more than the density of fluid, then the object will sink. For example, a cork floats and a nail sinks due to this reason. And what is density? Density is mass per unit volume, is known as density. Relative density. As we know, mass per unit volume is density, and its unit is kilogram per cubic meters. Let me write it for you. Kilogram per cubic meters or meter cube. This is unit SI unit of density. It varies from substance to substance. Now, expressing density with respect to water is relative density. So I can say relative density is equal to density of object over density of water. That is relative density. It is defined as a ratio of density of a substance to that of water. As you can see here, relative density, density of a substance on an object over density of water. And as it is a ratio, so relative density has no unit. Remember that SI unit of density is kilogram per meter cube, but relative density has no unit. Here are some practice questions based on these facts which we have learned on this video. You may pause the video and try these questions and show your good efforts. After that, you may check your answers on the next slide. Here are all the answers for these questions. If your answers are correct, then very well done. You have made really good progress in this video. That's all for this video. For more videos, you could log on to justtutors.com. Thank you.